I've been seeing some things around the YouTube community about TCM, and a lot of the things they're seeing around the base of the game being unacceptable from the eyes of the devs. Quote unquote, not the way we want the game to be played, and they don't want the game to be competitive. I've been reviewing content from Scott Jund and Coconut RTS, who have both dropped their thoughts on this on YouTube, and thought I'd review some of the options for TCM. First of all, the source of information we do have, the devs highlighted that DVD players are ruining the nature of the game and how it is to be played. As they're overall seen as a party game, this game is not to be seen in any comparison to DVD. Of course, it's TCM, it's not the same kind of game, including teabagging, competitive natures, and overall trying to bring new metas to the game. One of the things that was recognized in Scott Jund's video was him saying that DVD tried this many years ago. If you remember Dead by Daylight in the early days, they wanted players to be sneaky, to complete generators, and overall avoid chases. But things weren't as clear-sighted as that. As the game developed, it turned into a competitive game. The devs had no control over where the players take the game as a whole. The only bit of information that is remotely important is trying to keep up with what players are trying to do in the game and find ways to counteract that. You can't expect any competitive player to take any other route. Abuse the things that are in the game because at the end of the day, it comes to wins and losses. And every light, nobody wants to lose. And if you ask any competitive player, that's how they're going to react. I would rather win. So take that with a grain of salt. Since the release of the game almost 3 weeks ago, we have no update on common fixes that can structure the game to make it more fair for both sides. I figured today was no better time than to release my thoughts and improvements of bugs and fixes that overall change the impact of the game. And today I just wanted to review overall in-game mechanics and characters, considering if I do a breakdown on every issue in this game, it's going to take me 30 minutes. So let's just cut down to just these two for today. Welcome back to another TCM video. Today we review TCM as a whole. So starting off, I wanted to start off with Johnny. This is something that has been talked about by many YouTubers, and I agree that Johnny seems like an extra family member. The overall ask is what Johnny can do that Cook or Leatherface can't do better. Cook, of course, has the hearing ability to see players either near him and under him, and can also close crawl spaces, and Leatherface can close crawl spaces and break vaulting spaces completely. It all makes Johnny ultimately weak. Now, I'm not saying Johnny isn't good. You can definitely still take out victims and keep up with the team. It just kind of seems like his power and in-game ability is useless and kind of needs a buff in some areas. I will discuss his buff later in this video. Door unlocks. And man, if this isn't a huge issue on most maps. Now, I'm not going to go over every map as it seems like a lot. I'll save that for another video that I'll release later this week, reviewing some of the maps and changes they need. For now, I will just say this mostly has to do with the gas station map and also the family house. Now, the gas station, as per known by the community, has 2 generator doors that requires a pick lock and to turn off the generator on each side. Now, on one of the generator sides, there is a wooden door that has an unlock pick action that leads to the street. Without having Cook on your team makes this extremely broken, considering victims can escape in less than 5 minutes from the basement door, only requiring 2 pick locks to leave from that exit. There needs to be a change on that behalf completely, saying this is completely unfair. The family house as well, there's a back door that leads out to the yard. There is usually 1 pick lock door that you can get out there, or you can just vault over the space and then you're pretty much out into the street where you can go kick the generators. Without Leatherface is completely unfair. They need to do some fixes on door unlocks in generals and where they are as a whole, because without having Cook on your team kind of sucks. Alright, now the fuse box exit. Another friendly reminder that the fuse box exit needs a change. The family house is the one that comes to mind. Now, in current gameplay, I have been playing the victim side a lot because it is way more exciting than the family side of things. The map is rotated for 2 fuse box spots in the family house, and they're both upstairs. And I kid you not, the fuse has spawned in the same exact spot for every time I work to get out of the basement on this map. Upon installing the fuse box, the family can do nothing. Unlike the valve exit where they have time to turn it off before it opens, makes the fuse box suck for the family members. And once installed as well, victims can jump down wells or just run and take hits on their way to the basement for an easy escape. This makes the game very unbalanced. All they have to do is pretty much stall the fuse box entirely so that they can at least turn it off. It takes a little bit more time. Just put a little bit of counterplay into it and it'll be fine. Like, there's no issue on the fuse box exit besides having no counterplay to it. Now, Sissy. Sissy is probably the only one I don't have a bug fix of what they can do just yet because she's broken at the moment. I have lost my absolute mind on playing this online, being stuck in a poison cloud and unable to move at all while being full health and just getting destroyed. Let me just tell you, Sissy needs a dial down. Now, exactly how they'll do that is a good question. I would say first, overall fix the bugs playing against her, and then I'll see where I'll stand on this. For now, if you're in a chase with Sissy, you're more than likely dead without bone shards or without Leland. If you step in her poison, you're pretty much fried. Now, the Connie nerf. Why anyone can insta-break the single most important mechanic in the game for family members is beyond me. Connie has been overwhelming to deal with from the killer side, considering when you finally catch up to her, she's already insta-locking the last door with her focus ability. All the devs have to do is when she uses her ability, allow for none of her unlock efficiency to be used during that duration. What I mean by this is that little bar that goes up when you're unlocking those doors, consider that never going up. Instead of insta-locking that door, allow the character to still have to spam the button to open the door and move that little pointer until it turns green. That's all you have to do. That way she doesn't have to worry about losing the tool, and you have a little bit more time to catch up to her as the family. It gives them a little bit more hope. But the insta-lock meta just needs to end as a whole. Alright, the well buff. I haven't seen a single person mention this one. Why does it feel like sometimes when I'm running to jump into wells and it takes the family 3 to 4 seconds to get to me that I still can get hit? Why doesn't it have the same mechanic as going through crawl spaces or gaps in walls? This a lot of the time means the difference between bleeding out on the ground or being able to get some health for a restart. I mean, I have no issues from family or victim side about any chase mechanic besides stamina. A quick change to this, and it's a little more fair for everyone. This isn't even game changing. The victim's still required to run all the way back to the top and restart what they were doing. I would personally like if victims could just dolphin dive into the well like Call of Duty back in the day. But all they have to do is, if they're in the interaction of getting into the well, just allow them not to get hit. They're already going to take damage from the fall of the well anyway. So why were you allowed to be hit when you're entering that well? I don't get that. And the single most broken thing in this game is the stun duration. I hate that I even have to talk about this one, but man, do I feel like this is stupidly unfair. This has to be the biggest bullying technique in the game, and if you're on the receiving side of it, man, does it piss everyone off. If you don't already know, there's a perk in this game called Taekwondo. Weird as hell, I know. This perk stuns the family member for 12 seconds. If it wasn't bad enough, at tier 3 is an additional 4 seconds, so you can stun people for 16 seconds on the floor, unable to do anything. There's been videos in this game where people are infinitely abusing this technique, considering there's 0 cooldown. Do I have to explain anymore why this perk is broken? Like, can we add a cooldown or anything? Like, this is ridiculous. My god, rotate the maps more. Nobody wants to play the gas station 4 times in a row and then play Slaughterhouse once, which is single-handedly the most balanced map. The Slaughterhouse is so balanced compared to the family house or the gas station. And then we usually have to play the family house for 10 map rotations in a row. Just enable that we cannot get the same map twice in a row, and boom, we're good with it. That's all you have to do. I believe they put the mechanics all wrong for family, and it's disappointing if you're playing Cook or Johnny. This is where I'm going to pretty much talk about Johnny. Why not make Cook and Johnny able to vault through crawl spaces or close them, and then make Sissy and Hitchhiker vault through the wedge spaces, considering they can trap these spots. Like, the Hitchhiker can trap both sides of the wall, and Sissy can poison it. Makes a little bit more sense. Instead, it feels like Hitchhiker and Sissy is a lot more powerful. Think about the fact that Johnny and Cook are so much slower, and they do way less. If it wasn't for Cook's ability to padlock doors, his in-game mechanics would be lost and would need a nerf. And everyone would just play Hitchhiker and Sissy with Leatherface, and considering you have good communication, you never lose a game. But overall, what do you guys think? Did I cover some gray areas in the game? What else do you believe needs changing? Feel free to let a rip in the comment section. And guys, this is not a rip on TCM by any means, not on the devs or anything, but considering they want the game like it is and seek no improvement for changing the current meta of the game is going to run them into the ground. If they're considering longevity of the game, longer than 2 months, they need to at least update the game a little so it's not broken. The overall experience of TCM, the feel for it is great. Small fixes like these can change the game into the kind of game that the devs want. Like I said, it's not about being competitive or not. If you keep up with what people are trying to do, then you can counteract this. And that is the only win they can get out of this. If you don't want people to teabag, then don't add a teabag mechanic, even though it's absolutely hilarious. But hopefully I cleared up some of the areas that seek improvement. I play both sides a lot and I enjoy both, and I'm hoping that they can make some changes in a healthy way. I'll talk about more updates, fixes they can take advantage of, but for now I hope you enjoyed me clearing the area. Until then, I'll see you guys later. Peace out.